Manthey, mate. It's 2025. Porsche has just lost Le Mans, which means that they're probably going to vent their fury at the Nürburgring, and I can guarantee you, this is the car they're going to do it with. Notice I'm unable to say Porsche because I'm English, and if I said it the German way, then I'd have to say Lamborghini instead of Lambo. So you can argue about that in the comments. Back to the car. The Porsche GT3 RS MR, Manthey Racing, their ultimate weapon. So GT3 RS already has enormous downforce. What can the Manthey kit do? Well, to look at that, you need to look at the detail. There is so much to investigate in this car, and it's all here for you to look at and see visually how they've achieved hyper performance out of what was already a hyper supercar, or a super sports car, as they like to call it. Completely unnecessary changes, to be honest, because let's face it, the original GT3 RS already was completely mental, but they've done it anyway because they wanted to optimize this car for tracks like the Nürburgring, tracks like this one, Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And the big way they've done it is with aero. It's got 20% more downforce with less aerodynamic drag, better coefficient of friction. 50mm longer front splitter attached with these carbon tubes, flexible, attached to a preloaded spring so you can smash those curbstones. Air blades and guides here to blast this dirty air away from that wheel. That's how you get the drag efficiency. Roof strakes here to guide the hot air that's coming out of the radiators away from the engine, empowering the motor basically by allowing it to have cooler air. Speed wheels, sexy and streamlined. But the pièce de résistance, the thing that's going to really light this car up, is the tyre. This is a brand new compound by Pirelli, the Trofeo RS. I spent a lot of time on the R. It's a very fast tyre. It's kind of like a track-focused tyre for the road as well. So you can take it to and from your house, go around the track, go really fast, go home again. What they've done with this, they've made this tyre 10% grippier. That means a lot faster. If you look at those lap times I've been doing around the Dunsfold track, the top 10, all of them are on a track-focused compound. And this one's going to go to the next level. I am told it's not only grippier, it's also more durable. So I get to have more fun for longer. This enormous wing, not forgetting this huge dorsal fin. So this controls the air, makes the car more stable in a straight line, but it's also guiding the air and keeping the pressure underneath this wing so it slips through faster. Faster air underneath, slow it down over the top, that's what sucks the thing to the floor, like a vacuum cleaner. The wing on the GT3 RS was already massive, but this just gives it a little je ne sais quoi. I mean, it's just sort of like in your face. I'm a shark, I'm coming to attack you. You also notice these end plates. They've got quite an interesting shape to them. Now these two little ends create two spiraling pieces of air that cancel each other out, again reducing drag, just making the thing slippery. But these massive end plates, as a racing driver, I look at that and go, yes please, I'll have those if they're available. Again, it's containing the air, controlling it, and just that regulation just is what is enabling this air to really work this rear wing, this flap. Manthey weren't happy with a single plain flap here, so they've split it to get more air through because they realised they could get more suction and downforce from this section here. So they have spared no detail. Then you look down, there's more underneath this car. It's got a flat section at the front, again to speed the air up coming through. And what you've got here is effectively a double radius diffuser. So there's two angles, and apparently in CFD, if you look at the computer, that helps the air to stick to the underside. It controls it again for further. So basically, it's almost like having an extended diffuser. If you look at some of the Le Mans cars, they come right out the back of the car. All they've done is they haven't lengthened it, but they've lengthened the time that the air is stuck to it. Again, more downforce, less drag, you go faster. And it's got DRS, of course it has. All in, you get 1,000 kilograms of downforce at 285 kilometers an hour. That's 200 more than the original car. That's a lot. It's over 2 of me. Currently, around the ring, the GT2 RS, the 991 edition, is second fastest, second only to the Mercedes AMG 1. And the standard GT3 RS, the 992, is 6 seconds slower than the GT-RS. But they reckon this one's got 8 seconds in the bag. So I'm going to send this car around Silverstone, and I'm going to find out if this is the fastest Porsche ever made. I think it is. So this is what a Pirelli P Zero Experience looks like. It's like a 5-star track day. You can chill out over there. You can pick up your coffee from the bar over there. Food is laid on, amazing hospitality. Some creature comforts for racing drivers. We like those. What you're really here for is these amazing hypercars, F40s, GT3 RS or GT3, what is that one? Can't quite tell. Zonda, McLaren Senna, Lamborghini. It's very cool. Obviously you get a chance to run on the latest tyre technology by Pirelli, and then the fast stuff, that happens over there. Got drive, knock it across a manual, and then we're into the flappy paddles. A bit bad calling them flappy paddles really. This is a proper bullet-like gear change you get in this machine. No delays, we're way past those days. the first impression is the car doesn't feel too stiff. This is a relatively bumpy bit of the Silverstone track coming out of the pits. The car's ride is beautiful, super stable, solid, but smooth. Let's just run it over that curb. Yeah, it's not shaking my eyeballs out, which I'm pleased to see. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. Just ironing out any ripples in the tarmac. Look at that, the platform's so stable. Just warm up these tyres, give them a little chance to get up to temperature, get the hot pressures going, and adapt to what this car has to deliver. 200 kilograms more downforce than the standard RS, who would have thought that? Because the groundbreaking thing of that original car is just the fact that it has so much aero already. You'd have thought that the bar was set too high really to improve, but that's not what Manthey saw. But really, I guess what they've done is they've played to the car's strengths. What's interesting is that there's no modification to the engine. That's still the standard flat sixth, pumping out 500 horsepower, very linear, revving to 9,000 RPM. Suddenly I find myself going very fast. Quite casual about it. Through Beckett's. This thing is just beautiful though. Look how it holds its line. Fantastic. A little nudge of understeer, and I can make adjustments to the damping quite easily. So I'm softening the front end. I've already stiffened the rear. I'll just put that up a little bit on bump. And what that should do is allow the nose to dip slightly, and it should hold the rear in position. I've actually gone up on the front rebound as well to try and keep the nose down so that when I accelerate, the nose doesn't lift and I won't get power understeer. That's the beauty of this car, is it's adjustable. Now, speaking of adjustment, what's also quite aggressive with this car that I didn't talk about before is the... hang on. Yeah, something else that's developed on this car is the active suspension. It's 30% stiffer than the previous model, and it's got 2 valves instead of 1, operating and thinking at 1000 hertz to make adjustments at 20 milliseconds. So that's very, very fast response at the damper to do 2 things. It can control stiffness, but it can also control the attitude of the whole platform. Now that's relevant because that's exactly what they did in Formula 1 to stabilise the aerodynamics, and with 1,000 kilograms of aero at play, that is critical. So the active suspension is working to support this aerodynamic package. Every element of this car is about optimising the aero, and that's what I'm starting to explore. These speeds I'm carrying in very, very casually. This car is sublime. It's just benign, very easy to drive. Right into the rev limiter there, because I was kind of expecting it to break traction and that would have knocked back the revs a little bit, but it just didn't. This car just bit and fired me out of the corner. Had to get the shift in earlier than I expected. I don't know what it would take to break traction on this car. I'm just going to adjust the traction control, take it down a notch. It's like driving a racing car here. Last time I was here in anger was in WEC. In a Ferrari GT3 car, cornering speeds feel really very similar. This car on this tyre, absolutely phenomenal levels of grip. The tail is just unshakable. I'm turning the traction control off. I'm not trying to be a hero. I just want to be able to square off the corner on the exit and just start to free up the tail a tiny bit on the way out of the corner. Let's see if it works. The braking though is just fantastic. That gigantic wing is really working for me. Just catching other cars like they're toys. There's just no vices. In the days of feeling the weight of the engine in a Porsche 911 swinging around the rear axle and unsettling the car is long gone. I think that the GT3 platform really pioneered that, but it's endemic now in all Porsches. Just the thing is with this car, it's just such a quantum leap from all other 911s that have gone before it, that it does really kind of knock them aside and make them look a bit old hat. Sorry to say, but if you don't have one of these, you're a bit of a second tier owner. I include myself. I've got a lovely old 997. It's fantastic, I love it. It's just absolutely nowhere near the league of this. This is a totally different animal. What's amazing, what a Porsche has achieved with this car is making that user-friendly, approachable. I've never known anything like it. I think it is that combination though of the car with the rubber. This tyre is very forgiving as well. There's no massive spike in performance. So I go around quite a few laps here, terrorising the tyre, and so far it's taken it like a champ. It's not getting overheated on the surface, the block isn't moving around, just very stable, and I'm just not having to think about the tyres. That normally, that only counts on a slick. Slicks are built to take that type of aggro, but for a road-going track tyre, this is really something quite unusual. And that, coupled with the performance of this crazy machine, just sets it apart. Gotta say, if this was your first time on a track day, with all this kit at your disposal, professional drivers, it's pretty much paradise. Every year I wonder when the development will stop. It just keeps going. The guys at Porsche and Manthey, just, I salute you. You guys have really achieved a mission impossible to improve pretty much a perfect car and just make it that much better. Absolutely phenomenal. There's a standard car in front of me. So look at us, we're matched, we're like for like. Straight line speed, not much in it. I could just brake later and just carry this extra speed into the corner, all the way through it, and out the other side. Thank you very much. Should have got a Manthey, mate. Bye. And as for the previous model, the 991, they're barely recognisable as being related. Just the tiniest hint of understeer. But let's be honest, which would you prefer? At the turn-in though, the weight, the power of the steering is really there. On full power, yeah, there's a little bit of understeer, something to push against. But I think that is probably something I could iron out with an engineer. Like I say though, the turning force is fantastic. It's very direct. You can really dig the nose in at the low speed and the high speed corners. That power of turning is critical. If you watch the Formula 1 boys, they crank the steering in to point the car into the apex and then deal with the problem on power. And that's very much how this car works. So of course you've got that power in your hands and you can build up to it, which is why I'm saying this car is so approachable. The more experience you get, the more you can get out of it, of course. But an inexperienced driver would be very much closer to a pro in a car like this. This is exactly the kind of car you want around the ring. You can trust it, rely on it and lean on it. In front of me, I know who's driving it, that's Ollie Webb, and that is a GT4 racing car. Now, if this car can catch the GT4 McLaren on slicks in this configuration on this Trofeo RS, then I think I've answered my question, which is this car faster than the GT2 RS? And the simple answer is, hell yeah! So now that we've established that, I think it's time to have a little bit of fun. The way I like to have fun. Let's pick a fast corner to do this. That seems sensible. Hell yeah! It drifts, it drives fast, it does everything, man. It does Is everything real? Well, the other thing I quite like about this car is the way they built in destructible areas. So they've got all these strakes underneath the body, on the floor, the flat panel, and the splitter that's got retractable little spring fins, little straws. Because they know that people like Misha are going to be driving this car around the ring. Have you seen the ring these days? The bumps, they're crazy. It's such a rough track. Oh, we got a spinner. But this car is designed to ride that rough track, smoothen things out and take a kicking and keep asking for more. And events like the P Zero Experience is where similar-minded people get together to have a lot of fun. This is my idea of heaven on earth. And I'm out. Doesn't get any better than that. Absolutely incredible. I've driven a lot of cars. I've never driven anything like this that has that much performance, that is so easy to drive. Porsche have taken it to the nth degree, and then Manthey just gone next level. And you would think that being a really advanced racing company, that it would all be very twitchy and aggressive and difficult and complicated. And it's the opposite. This car is even more docile. On the limit, this thing is just planted. It's so planted. And then when you glue that to these new RS tyres, the Trofeo RS, which is the next level of grip and I suppose durability as well, this tyre actually works really well. Not only you get the peak grip really early on, but it's completely consistent across the run. Those two things together, unbelievable. So I've got no doubt this car is the fastest Porsche ever made. I've satisfied myself, but we'll see what happens at the Nürburgring. But cars like this are what you want around the ring, because you want the confidence. Confidence is probably worth 2 or 3 seconds, and this thing is completely underneath you. So I can see why they've developed it the way they've developed it. And this car has been developed as a Skunk Works project around the ring. You've got all the spy photos and stuff like that. It's an absolute beast. It's a weapon, it's not a beast, but it's an amazing tool. People can have a lot of fun with it.
How was it?
That was beyond epic. It was really, really amazing. I absolutely terrorised the tyre, and it's still, actually, I looked at it afterwards and it's completely clean. So how have you managed to do that? How do you combine the grip without having them fall apart?
Yeah, well, basically we took a 360-degree development approach to this. Started from zero and built up from there. We've optimised the tyre profile, so making the shape of it, the tyre, as optimised as possible to help that footprint to A, generate the grip, but then B, make the tyre life last as long as it can.
The working bit of the tyre is the size of your hand, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So we've made that as wide as we possibly can do within the boundaries of the tyre size, and then made the pressure distribution as even as we possibly can to reduce that temperature build-up.
So what do you do? Is it construction, and that's how it so it meets out, so it doesn't bend too much, and lean over so that the footprint shrinks? Is that what you're doing?
We can do that by widening the tyre itself within its boundaries, so we can change a little bit how the shoulders work to make the footprint wide, but also change that construction so that when you're in those corners, the tyre can deform itself more and maintain more of that footprint on the ground to give you that grip. So you're talking about the shape as well, because when I look at this, actually, it's quite flat. Yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest. Most tyres are flat and round.
Yeah.
So is that to do with the construction and the sidewall that's holding it together, basically to give it that rigidity?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So it can deform it up to a certain point to be able to try and find that grip when you're fighting for the limits of grip in the corners, but also maintain that solidness that you feel to give you that solid feeling when you turn in basically off the corner.
So one of the criticisms of people going to track days, they go to the track, they drive around, they drive home, but when it rains, it can be a bit skittish. So is that something you've tried to work on? Absolutely
is, yeah. We've done that in 2 ways. So we first of all work with the tread pattern itself to be able to try and achieve that maximum grip. So you've got this big sort of semi-slick outer shoulder, but like you say, there's these grooves cut into the internal side to be able to maintain that level of wet performance. Okay. Then we've also worked on the tread compound. So in the dry, as you roll and lean, the car's really generating the G-force, you're going to use this part of the time more. Yeah, exactly. In the rain, the car's not getting so much load, so this is why you've put the grooves in here to spit the water out and cut through. Exactly, yeah, so you can maintain some level of wet performance as well. And the tread compound itself, we've used a bit of our motorsport know-how that's now trickled down into the road tyre division to be able to achieve that maximum grip that you can see on the dry, like a day like today. But also we coupled that with some of the technology that we've learned from the road car division, which is more orientated towards the wet performance. Coupling those together is allowing us to have this reduction in trade-off between wet and dry. The cars just get faster, but some of these cars only get faster because the tyres have improved, the grip has gone up. Exactly, yeah. Yeah. And it's an arms race, so as soon as this hits the market, someone's going to be ripping it apart to have a look inside. Yeah. and trying to do what we've already done.
And then the race goes on.